This time I actually know the answer. I know exactly what is going on anyway. And I'm so excited about it because usually I'm like, I don't know what's going on and I never do. And there's no answers to this. But this time, you know what happened? Jimmy Carter died. And I don't know how far back it was that the news was that Jimmy Carter went into hospice. It's been a while, but I recorded it on one of these podcasts back when, and I thought in that podcast that I was just so sure that we would be receiving the Jimmy Carter inheritance within a month or two. It seemed so important to think about, what is this inheritance that we get? You know, I've talked about this before, so I hate to repeat myself, but for some of you, you won't know what I talked about before. And, you know, who's going to go back and look through all of them? Like, clearly I'm not doing it. This is the last podcast of 2024. I've already sort of tucked this year up, put it to bed. And it's not exactly a good riddance, but it's kind of like, ooh, phew, we did it. Maybe I always kind of like a new year. I like the clean slate of it. And odd number years, I don't know. They feel good to me. So 2025 feels like an important beginning. Letting go of 2024 is nice. And letting 2024 go with Jimmy Carter's passing, his completion, you know, it's nice to say goodbye to someone who's been here for 100 years. And so without me telling you what the inheritance is from Jimmy Carter, and I have ideas about it, but maybe just take a second and think about what that legacy is for you, for all of us. I have this theory that when people who hold the collective imaginations of many of us, especially folks who are humanitarians, they offer something back to all of us, like their soul explodes into the atmosphere and rains down just gifts of abundance, of treasure that this person once held inside of their body and now offers back as an abundant inheritance for whoever is willing to receive it. And that, my friends, is what's going on anyway, right now. To end the year, I feel this satisfaction, for once, that I know just a little bit what's going on anyway. Hello and welcome back to many of you. My name is Ann Headley, and I am your host. This is my podcast, What is Going On Anyway, where I take a look and listen every 2 weeks on the full and new moon to how life is feeling for me, and I share it with you. I use both my intuition and imagination to share a story of what's going on now. And then I ask for extra help. I use the ancient divination practice of the I Ching, and sometimes I pull a card from one of my favorite oracle decks to tell a story to you about this moment and share my experience of paying attention to life as it is. So did you take a moment and think about Jimmy Carter's inheritance? Maybe you've been listening to some of the news or getting interested in his life because there's lots of accounts that you can listen to, different people's stories about him and his life. And one of the things that you will hear over and over again is that he had an incredible second act. So becoming president was the beginning of a really wonderful, becoming president and that presidency ending was the beginning of something really wonderful for him. From his 50s, for 50 years, he had a life that he seemed to enjoy and had a life that felt that it gave him incredible purpose. that he used his platform and he used it to the best of his ability. He loved his wife. It's hard not to appreciate loving the people that you are committed to, dedicated to. And, that does not have to be your romantic partner. In his case, it was. But I think about the inheritance from him is committing and making that commitment stronger and deeper and more special and important because you are investing into it. And I think about the possibilities of the relationships and friendships in my life and what they can become with my investment of love. And not hoping and wishing that they will come back to me in any particular way, but that my investment into the cultivation of that garden of love and friendship, that there's no way that you won't be surprised by what will grow there. Now, I'm probably reading it. I don't know how Jimmy Carter felt about any of that, but I'm just saying that this imagination that he's inspiring in all of us, what does it mean to have an incredible 50 years after 50? I mean, that's something to really be interested in and excited about. What is it to do good work in the world? What is it to get your hands into the work that you can do? I think about Jimmy Carter as someone who had a lot of critics, who didn't have a high approval rating in office, and who had to turn away from that in order to carry on and not listen to public opinion, but to create a life based on his integrity and moral standards and deep faith. So perhaps the inheritance that we receive from him on his passing is to enjoy our second acts, to invest in love, and to make a difference wherever we find ourselves, putting our good hands, hearts, and minds to work to make a better world. It rained all day today, so when I stepped outside to come down to the studio to record this podcast, I was really surprised to look out at the night sky and just see the brilliance of the stars. I know that technically, when it's a new moon, the sky is incredibly bright with starlight because the moon is not affecting the brilliance of the stars. It's not dimming what you can see in the night sky. But it was stunning. I had to go back inside, call whoever I could round up to look at the night sky with me. Stunning night sky. So because this is new moon, I'm asking you if you can get yourself out there again, watch the sky. I did the same exercise where I tried not to be scared as I watched the stars, and it felt good. I did not feel that that spookiness come over me of this great, vast, huge unknown. I just let myself stand in awe of the beautiful stars. So I wish that for you at the end of this year. This time of darkness is shifting. We're moving away from solstice. We're moving into the light returning. And I hope that you've enjoyed this bit of darkness, this bit of dark time every day from here on out. We will be gaining until we get to summer solstice. Now, I've shared this with a bunch of you because I'm really excited about it. I took this class from this woman that I only really know from Instagram. I can't remember how I know her, but the person that I know is a friend of hers is an actual person that I know. And I've never met this person. I only know her from Instagram. None of this actually matters, but I'm just sharing this with you because I I did that thing where I just followed my gut, and my gut said, take this class, offering this Zoom class about wishing for the new year. And we started before Christmas time and brainstormed 13 wishes. And then every night from Christmas to Epiphany, we burn a wish without looking at it. So on Epiphany, which is January 6th, which I am not a religious person, but one of my kids was born on January 6th, so I thought that was pretty special that that was the day that the wise men came to see baby Jesus. Now look, I don't believe that baby Jesus is anything more than a retelling of an old myth that has gone on as long as people have been around celebrating the return of the light. So I guess I'm a little bit pagan. I guess I'm a lot pagan. I guess I'm a witch. And I especially love celebrating this dark time of the year and solstice and that light moving back, coming back to us. And so January 6th also represents the end of the sort of solstice time, that dark time. We are now moving into more of a relationship with the light as the wise men are moving into a relationship with baby Jesus. So all of this is to say that this practice that I'm doing with these wishes, I almost said witches. Yes. This practice that I'm doing starts on the 25th, and for 12 nights, you burn a wish so that on the 6th of January, you're left with a wish. And any of these wishes can come true. They probably all will. They are your wishes after all. But this last wish that you're left with is the wish that you can give life to, that you can be in relationship with, the wish that you can put action towards, that you can give feet, you can give life to it. So in all of my wishes, some of them are extravagant, some of them are practical, some of them are more altruistic, and some of them are selfish. They feel a little selfish, but it's got me thinking so much about wishes. And no matter what you might brainstorm as a wish, there's something very, very interesting underneath the wishing. And underneath the wishing is this is so interesting because it's something that I'm always trying to address with my questioning, which is something about not just what is going on anyway, but what do you want anyway? What's this all about? Why are we here? Okay, so that's, I've got those questions. But then why do we want the things that we want? What is our desire about? Because we've been led to think that our desire is like shameful and greedy and silly and naive and simple-minded sometimes. And I just keep wondering a lot about our desires and what they tell us about ourselves and who we are and what we're here for. And that somehow I think our desire points directly, maybe indirectly, maybe it's shaded, maybe it's a little bit hard to see through it. Obviously it is. But I believe our desire points us to our purpose. And that when we get pointed towards our purpose, and I feel like that's one of the examples that Jimmy Carter gives us. He seemed to live the last 50 years of his life with purpose. And that seems to be a nice way to live. It seems to be a way of dealing with anxiety in the sense of, if I know what my purpose is, I think I will always be anxious. I will always be dealing with different levels of anxiety, but purpose tempers it. It says, well, I know that I'm going to be nervous about this, or I know that I will be anxious about this, but my purpose is telling me to do it anyway. So even if you don't have a ready list of 13 wishes, it's not too late for you. Just take a moment and grab a piece of paper and a pencil, or brainstorm in your mind, if that's the way you like to do it. And what are some things that you wish for yourself? It's easy to wish for other people, but to wish for yourself is the way that you're pointing towards purpose. You're looking for your desire. You're looking for your silly wishes. Under every silly wish is something deeper. That's what I think. And I think it could be interesting to peel the onion of our wishes. So 13 wishes, and you don't have to burn them. You can compost them. You can bury them. You can throw them in running water. Any way that you cannot look at the wish. So you would write them all on strips of paper and then not look at them. So as you were releasing your wishes day after day, or if you have to catch up, you could do a few at a time, or every couple of hours, do one. And notice how it feels to let go of some wishes, knowing that there will be one left that you will attend to. I just think it's really interesting, and it's been quite a practice of watching I don't know what I want to call it exactly. Like, it feels a little childish to me. It feels so innocent and naive the way I'm acting, so superstitious around these wishes. Like, one day I grabbed one. I actually have them in a jar. They could be in a bowl or a jar, and I have it on my windowsill in my bedroom. And so I grabbed one, and I was walking out to the living room to the fireplace to burn it. And halfway I was like, nope, this is not the right one. And I turned around, went back to the jar, shook it up again, and chose one more time. Just had that strong feeling. Now, the thing is, I've written down all these wishes, and I can go back and look at them. So it's not like I'm going to forget what I wished for. It just feels quite powerful to be gifted one wish at the end of this dark time to move into the light with. And so I'm offering that to you if you want to join me with that, with these wishes, that rather than a New Year's resolution that you decide, that you're given a wish to be in relationship with. And somehow that, to me, feels more reciprocal, like a way of being in relationship to this wish. So different to me than having like a New Year's resolution, which usually has something to do with some kind of discipline that I am not enacting upon myself. And so I kind of want to throw all that out the window. And so in the spirit of New Year's and throwing old ways out the window, composting those old ways, I want to share a gratitude poem with you. So there is a poet named Joseph Fasano who wrote a book, The Magic Words. And this is a book that uses prompts, sort of like Mad Lib style. But I don't think you're supposed to do it in the blind way you do Mad Libs. I think I think you can do it any way you want. But this gratitude poem I will share with you, and let's just do it together. So as I read the poem, I'm going to get to a place where there's a prompt for you to come up with an adjective or a noun, and you can guess it just based on the context of the poem. So I will share mine, but also as we go, I'm going to give you a little bit of space to maybe say it in your mind or say it out loud, depending on where you are, that you can have your own poem as we go along. And this one's called Gratitude Poem. I'm sure you can do this lots of different ways because clearly these are prompts. But these prompts particularly are asking us to choose nouns until the very end and we choose an adjective. So you may want to fill in the poem yourself with an adjective as a descriptor inside of the poem, but they're asking us to choose nouns. So you could almost choose like 5 nouns, like ball and tree and Antarctica and Jimmy Carter. So we're just thinking about nouns now until the very end when we will think about an adjective. Yeah? Okay. Gratitude poem. I thank the earth for its monkeys. I thank the sky for its clouds. Oh, wait. I need to make space for you to do this too. Okay? I thank the earth for its, your turn, monkeys. I thank the sky for its clouds. I thank the sea for its waves. I thank the wind for its sound. I thank the body for its skin. I thank the beginning for its space. I thank the end for its silence. Yes, I thank even the end. What would the beginning be without the softness of the end? I'm not sure how that worked, you and me doing that together just now, but I will link the book and the author's work in the show notes so you can check it out. This is a super lucky time for us to have this new moon at the end of a year as we're preparing for a new year, and many people have a little bit of extra space right now. A lot of people have time off around the new year, and this is a perfect time to quiet down, ask some questions, sleep a lot, get ready for whatever this new year is bringing you. I don't have a good sense of like prediction of the new year. Personally, I have a lot of feeling that's kind of, it's like kind of a frustrated giving upness sense. I don't have that kind of like fresh new. I have this more like, let's see what we can do when we put less effort in. I'm laughing at myself, but it's really true. I'm like, how efficient could I get? How could I do less? How could I do less, but still be proud of myself? It seems to be, I have this old way of understanding myself, of knowing how to be proud of myself or knowing where to receive my approval and appreciation and validation. And it usually has to do with me overworking. And I have just like, I just don't want to do that anymore. I don't have the energy. I don't know. Remember last time? I totally forgot this until Pia called and she was like, whatever happened with your testing and your mystery illness? So I told you that I went and I did the blood test to do the tick panel. And I got the results back later that week. And I don't have any tick-borne disease. So I was like, I guess it really is menopause, or I don't know, is some other mystery. No idea. And I still have random aches. It actually has gotten better. So I don't know. Maybe there was a virus that was going through me that was making me feel achy like that. At any rate, I didn't test positive for COVID during that time. I didn't have COVID-like symptoms, even though it's been going around like crazy in our community. So I don't know. It was mysterious. My whole health right now feels mysterious. Like as I sit here, I'm kind of sitting upright and like tuning into my spine. And I'm like, yeah, it still doesn't feel great, perfect. I don't know what's going on. Maybe this is what it feels like to go through menopause. I don't like it at all, but okay. I'm a little bit more now that I know that I don't have an unresolved, a tick-borne illness that I somehow didn't know about and that I'm not managing well. I somehow seem more at ease to deal with it. But it contributes to this overwhelming feeling that I want to do less, not more, but I still want to feel valuable and I want to feel appreciated and I want to approve of myself. I still want all the good feelings. I just don't want to do it the way I used to. So that's what that is, I think, one of my wishes, or it's embedded in one of the wishes anyway. It's time to ask the oracle, what sense can you make of things for us? But really, what would you have us know about this new moon time? Because we're at the end of the year, for me, this is the last podcast of season 2 that I would love to get hexagram 64, which is a kind of a completion, or hexagram 1, which is like a beginning again. But I don't know what we're going to get. I haven't thrown it yet. So let's take a moment, because this is as much for you as it is for me. You're here because you've got questions too, or you're curious, or you're trying to figure things out. And so let's let the oracle speak to you as well as me. So we'll take a deep breath together in a moment of getting ourselves open and receptive, becoming a vessel of receptivity. And maybe you let it out with a sigh. And as you tune into your breath, you can feel yourself taking up space, occupying your space with your consciousness. So finding your way into your body. And of course, you're always in your body. It's silly to think otherwise. But there is a way of using your consciousness to ground and take up space and feel your way into the vessel of the body that you are, and get really open and receptive. And sometimes when you do that, you feel your way into the questions, and then you can feel your way around the corner of the questions right into the answer. And that's this sort of curious thing, that the questions themselves contain the answers, or they contain the spaciousness to listen for the answers. And I think the more you use some sort of practice of questioning and letting there be some great unknown that gives you answers, that listening for the answers becomes a big practice, an important practice. So let's ask the I Ching, what would you have us know for this moment now? What will help us to make sense of now, of this new moon time, these next 2 weeks? So we didn't get either of the hexagrams that I thought might be good, but I love this one for us. We get 55, abundance. And the questions that we can ask around abundance. What are you called on to do? What decisions must you take now? This is perfect for receiving your wish of the year, because the wish will tell you, what are you called on to do? And now that you know this, what decisions must you take in order to be in relationship with what it is that you're called on to do? This is a cornucopia, a wealth of resources, but also a wealth of choices, tasks, and demands. This is the crucial moment where it all comes together. In a time of abundance, you find that despite what you have lost, there's a new charge given to you that leaves no place for sorrow or anxiety. It's not the time to hide yourself away and grieve the past. Decide what you will do, take it on, make the practical preparations, and march out. The hexagram moves to 15, integrity. And the questions here are, what is the simple reality? How might you return to a state of balance? And what if it didn't all depend on you? That's the thing about that I like. One of the things that I learned about Jimmy Carter is how much he worked with teams, with his campaign team, with his writers. He wasn't a one-person operation. That what if it didn't all depend on you, but you worked together with other folks that shared your hopes and dreams. That seems really important. To experience integrity is like coming face to face with your real self, plain, simple, unadorned. To have integrity is to be whole, at one with yourself and with reality. It means being honest about your own capacities, holding yourself in creative balance with your world, and not exaggerating the importance of your role. These qualities enable the noble one to bring whatever work presents itself to completion. Since she is not overly full of herself, she has space for the real world. She isn't hampered by an excess or by a lack of confidence. Since she isn't caught up in a personal story and doesn't identify her work with her worth, she is free to do what needs to be done and move on. Isn't that an interesting idea? Not to be identified, not to identify your worth and your work. That your worth is inherent and your work is just what you do most of the time with your hands and your mind. I think that'll do for us, don't you think? I'll pull a couple of these. I have this bowl full of angel cards and then these random, I call them yoga cards. I don't quite know what they are, that were given to me ages ago by another yoga practitioner. So we get detachment, harmony, surrender. I pulled a whole bunch of them. Serenity, light, truthfulness, and vitality. For whatever that's worth. And I'm going to try to keep this here to an almost tight half an hour so that you have time to sit with your wishes, to ponder over them, to look at them and think about them and get yourself ready for bringing them or birthing them into the light of this year. I'm excited about that for me and for you too. So thank you for being here, for listening again, for joining me for the completion of season 2 of What is Going On Anyway. I hope I'm back with season 3, but honestly, I haven't quite decided yet. I have these 2 weeks to decide because there's going to be a full moon coming up that I'm kind of curious about. So I'll probably be back. I'm not trying to tease or anything. I'm just honestly, I haven't decided yet. You can always reach out to me on my website, www.annheadley.com. There's some links to, who I am and all the different things that I do. And you can find out about yoga and animal communication. And I maybe have some old blog posts there. I don't know. I haven't looked at it in a little while. You can always support me through Patreon or in some special way. Some of you have been so lovely and generous with me in personal and private ways that have nothing to do with Patreon, but Patreon's there for those of you who like to do it that way at www.patreon.com/watermoonstudios. Thank you so much for being here. And until next time, until next season, be well. May you be well. May you know peace. And may all beings everywhere, whether we know them or we don't know them, may they know peace and may they be well. Bye for now.